Blake, what's the most formative movie-going experience you can ever remember?
Toby, I went to the Hulk movie, but I learned something very different than Hulk knowledge.
Welcome to the Church Gear Podcast, where we pull the tech out of the booth and onto the stage to share the most outlandish stories and hidden wisdom from the tech trenches. And now, here are your hosts.
I'm your host, Blake Hodges, a man who learned I was the best kisser in the universe during the Hulk movie. And I'm here with my co-host who has never taken a woman on a date to the movies, Toby Walters.
Wow. I'm not going to respond. I just want to get into this. I don't even know what you mean. So
that's what I said. That's what I said too.
Let's go. Is this going to get us the explicit rating again on the podcast?
I don't think so. But the very fast version of this is I'm in 8th grade, fresh out of summer camp. What do you do at summer camp, Toby? Accept Jesus? Maybe, but you certainly
hopefully get a girlfriend.
You get a girlfriend. So we go to the Hulk movie, make out the whole movie. I don't even remember the Hulk movie. She said I was the best kisser in the universe, dumped me because she didn't like who I was as a person. And so this carries all the way to college.
This is 8th grade?
This is 8th grade. Wow. My now wife.
Okay.
I go over to hang out with her on our first date. Guess who's hanging out in her house?
Oh, that girl?
Freaking Julie.
Wow.
Julia's there.
Wow.
And so she says in front of the whole party, because my wife lived in the party house by accident. She wasn't a party, her roommates were. Julia goes, Blake is the best kisser I've ever kissed. And this is like right in front of my now wife. And I'm like, I'm trying to hang out with Allison. This is so awkward. So that is my most formative movie experience. Toby, you asked me about formative movie experiences. What was yours?
So does Julie still claim that you're the world's best kisser? Is she married now? Do you have any idea?
She might be married, but it also continued from there. That is not the only Blake is the best kisser at Union story in the toolbox. We'll save that for a future episode.
Wow. So many paths.
Blowing your mind. This is what women have reported to me. Not what I've said to them.
So one of my favorite quotes from a girl that I've known a long time since high school, dear friend. And she told me, and I'm like, oh man, this is brutal honesty. She said, Toby, I think every girl has a crush on you at first until they get to know you.
Bro.
I was like, oh man.
We're the king of first dates.
I know. I make a really good first impression for like, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes. And then the woman's like, oh, nope, never mind. But my wife, I mean, we've been together 25 years now and she's still into it for some reason.
Well, that arranged marriage, she believes in commitment.
And then you and I talk all the time when you marry a Christian woman and they don't believe in divorce. It's like, this is the loophole you were always looking for.
That's how us second date losers make it.
Yes. All right. So getting back to movies, I don't even want to go back to movies now that we're on this subject, but I remember a couple like really formative experiences. And I was thinking, so I just went to see, did you see Get Help?
Send Help. Yeah. They made that movie about us, Toby, in the future.
And so I go to the movies and it's only in 3D. And I'm like, I've seen movies in 3D before. I'm not a huge fan, especially when wearing
They've got better 3D glasses, though, now that sit on it a little better.
Okay.
A little better.
It was okay. But I was also thinking, why does this need to be in 3D?
Money, Toby.
It wasn't any more expensive, I didn't think. I was the only person in the theater. I'm also thinking, how are movies still in business? I don't understand this.
I don't either.
And so Mandalorian's coming out this summer. You excited for that one?
Freaking heck yeah. I love Baby Yoda. My wife is obsessed with Baby Yoda, almost as much as she's obsessed with my title as best kisser.
I might be ostracized from the community
for
saying this, but I feel like I might be over Star Wars at this point.
How dare you? Every tech in America, don't turn against church here. Just turn against Toby.
Yeah. But Odyssey looks really interesting.
That looks nice.
Yeah, Christopher Nolan. I was thinking when I saw Avatar the first time, it was in IMAX. That was an experience. Do you remember seeing Avatar for the first time? Did it blow your mind at all?
No, because I was a Philistine, but my work bestie from my last job, that's what inspired him to become a designer. So it's a big movie.
One fun story, we've told it before on the podcast, but I was at a church in Florida area and looking at gear. And then they mentioned, oh yeah, we have this cabinet of red. And I'm like, what? And so they show me their cabinet of red stuff. And they mentioned, yeah, we've got all these Red 1 cameras. And they showed me the serial numbers were 6 through 10. And they said, yeah, we got the second batch. Serial numbers 1 through 5 went to Avatar.
Nice.
So we got the right after Avatar cameras.
Dang.
I know.
Wait a minute. We got them?
Yeah.
Do we keep them? Do we put them in the church gear museum?
No, we had to sell them. Like church gear is a museum. It's always a museum, but it's a rotating, what would you call it? Curation?
Curation. We should sell tickets to the church gear museum. That's how we can stay in business.
Not a bad idea, Blake.
And bringing someone who would be the first person in line to the church gear museum, I couldn't scroll fast enough.
You were just still thinking about how good a kisser you are. And just so proud of that moment. All right, let's reintroduce our guest now. Try it again, Blake.
Okay, here we go. Speaking of who would be the first person in line for the Church Gear Museum, and here to challenge me for best kisser in the world is the...
oh my goodness.
I lost it again. Yeah, is the audio lead at Community Bible Church in San Antonio who claims he's just a guy who loves audio, Eric Allen. Eric, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, Blake. Thanks for having me.
Eric, do you feel like the warning label we gave you ahead of time was enough, or are you now regretting your decision?
Oh, I think it's yet to be seen.
Okay.
Well, Eric, welcome to the Church Gear podcast presented by House Right. They're crazy enough to join us on this journey and, you know, have crazy kisser stories.
I know. I love those guys at House Right. And I will not confirm that they are the best kissers.
And we will not send them this episode. But Eric, you're here for this episode.
Eric, you married?
I am married.
Okay.
We'll be 8 years in July. So,
has your wife ever confirmed that you are the best kisser?
Yeah, I would hope so.
Okay.
That's my guy. That's my guy right there.
Blake, I think you're the only one of the three of us that some other woman claims you're the best kisser in the world rather than your wife.
I have two other women who claim it, not my wife, because I'm my wife's only kiss, so she has no comparison.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Best and worst.
Yeah.
But Eric's just the best, not the worst. So, Eric, hit us with some of the best of your production highlights, man. How did you get into production? How did you wind up on this podcast regarding all your life decisions? Give us some of your backstory.
Well, funny enough, I started leading worship. So I got connected to a smaller church, even before CBC, and knew nothing about audio, but I was very interested and got around some really smart people, asked a lot of questions, and that's kind of feet to the fire, learned a lot of this world. And I served there for 4 years. Around the same time I started dating my now wife and was looking for a place to step into ministry, but also, get a big boy job. So reached out to several churches. CBC was the only church to call me back, and went to visit before my interview. Fell in love with the pastor, his vision, his heart for church, and I'll be 10 years on staff in May. So it's been quite a journey.
10 years is impressive in this day and age. That's like 2 overachiever lifetimes stacked on top of each other.
Yes, absolutely. So Blake, I got the distinct pleasure, and I mean that like sincerely. I loved getting to visit CBC just a couple months ago. Eric gave me the tour, got to hang out with him. And I don't know about you guys, I feel like this is becoming old news, which I sure hope. That I feel like the media has told us for years, church attendance is dwindling. People are stopped going to church.
Dumb.
I feel like the narrative now is starting to change, and CBC is... Eric, talk to us about how you guys are busting at the seams. I heard
the CB seams.
What'd you say? 18,000 people on your broadcast campus every weekend. How are you guys managing this growth? Where are you putting people? How many campuses? Overflows? Talk to us about this reality of everybody in the nation's apparently coming to CBC.
Well, to start, San Antonio is unique in that it's a military town. So we get constant influx of people coming in and out through the connection to the military. So that's one big thing. We started to really notice our growth once we came out of COVID. We were averaging about 14,000 people after COVID, and that number just kept climbing over the last 5 or 6 years. And we started looking to where we don't have any plans to expand our building. We're not building new property for at least our main campus. So we're thinking, okay, what's the next thing? And so we started looking at a campus model. So we looked at other churches, Elevation, Church of the Highlands, to just take notes and say like, hey, you guys are doing this really well. Like, how is this working? And so we started our first campus on the south side of town And you get the critics, you get the people that say, "Hey, nobody goes to the South Side to build a campus." But we already had people attending CBC. Like we're in San Antonio, we're on the north side of town, and we already have people driving 30, 45 minutes to come to church. And it's like, why not just put a campus there? It has DNA of CBC there, and that blew up too. Averaging about 1,000 to 1,200 people within the first few weeks of launching. So it's like, okay, well, what's next? So we looked to further north. So we launched a campus there. We're run out of a school currently. And then we looked to the east side of town and the west side of town. So now, as it stands today, we have 5 campuses in total. Our central campus, and then what I'm calling the compass. So south side, north side, east, and west. Still running at about the same numbers at central campus. So we really haven't lost much attendance across our central campus. If anything, we've grown because people are now in those regions are connecting their neighborhoods to those local campuses. And so we're seeing now somewhere between 20 to 21,000 people across all of our campuses.
That's amazing. And your worship center seats what, about 4,000 people?
3,500.
Okay. And then
we have a secondary
space. Yeah, tell us about your secondary space.
So our secondary space actually used to be our original worship center. Back before we did our expansion, we were running about 1,000 people in that space. So we still have that available to us. We use it on our midweek gatherings for students, but on the weekends, that's our overflow space. And our 10 o'clock service is our most attended. And so we'll pack out our worship center, seats 3,500, and we can get really close to packing out our overflow space. And don't even get me started on Easter, Christmas. Those we'll fill those up, and then we're looking for other rooms. So.
Yeah. So talk to us about the unique challenges you guys have run into now as a production team, now that you're having to do multiple overflows, and it's not just 50 people in an overflow space. You might have 1,000 people in your overflow room. What does that look like for your team and how you execute production, across the board?
So production and worship, we're meshed really well together. So a lot of our workflows affect the other. So the conversations start as we fill out our overflow spaces. Hey, we need to engage these people to where it's not just 500-600 people will go in and just watch a screen for 45 minutes. Like, how are we engaging them in ministry? How are we helping to invite them into their worship experience, and not just, hey, we're walking in to just watch Pastor Ed, which, I mean, it's awesome. I would do that if I were attending. But when we transitioned into overflow and realized these numbers were growing, we thought, okay, well, we might have to have live worship in that space and treat it like one of our campuses. And so we kind of adopted that campus model and taken it into our overflow space. So we're treating it like a campus. And you can imagine the staff and volunteers it takes to run that on the worship and production side. Yeah, it's pretty steep. So it stretches us a bit for sure, but I think it's important to be intentional with engaging the people who attend our services, and to where you get families that are just trying to come in, drop their kids off, and the parking lot's a mess. It's a zoo. And so by the time they get in, 10, 15 minutes have already passed in the service. And then, okay, you can't get into the main room. You have to go sit in this other space. Okay, well, how do we make that feel like they are still part of what's happening? And that's the direction we decided to go.
Yeah. So when you guys did that, you talking about live worship, what was the discussion around? Should we just rinse and repeat what we're doing in the main room? Or did you intentionally decide we're going to do something a little bit different with our live worship?
No, we're trying to unite our campuses to where we're roughly singing the same things, to where the overall message of our weekend gatherings is the same across our campuses. It's just for cohesion and for everybody to feel like it's CBC. Okay. So we decided to do that also with our overflow. So song selection and the general worship experience is the same across our campuses and in overflow.
Does it feel like a step down in quality when you go to a campus or you go to the overflow room rather than what you're experiencing in the main room?
Oh no, we've got some pretty talented people, both on stage and behind the scenes. So we take it very seriously to make sure we're bringing excellence, whether it's in our overflow, whether it's on campuses, because that's just how we want to pursue ministry.
Yeah.
And so whether it's one of our smaller campuses, even saying that our smallest campus, I think seats about 400 people at an auditorium of a school, and we will pack it out too.
Yeah.
It's not lost live on Sunday mornings.
Worship is live on Sunday mornings at every campus. So that's a lot of people, a lot of people to make it happen.
Eric, do you want to give us your why behind worship being live? I don't know if this is a big debate, but I'd love a hot take as to why.
Are you talking about the campuses or overflow or all of it?
Campuses.
Okay.
Like they're not just piping in the worship and the message. They're only piping in the message. They're doing worship live.
Yeah,
so,
and this is like the 99% norm at campuses.
Is it?
Yes.
Never mind. I thought I'd smelled a hot take. I was going to get him to give his impassioned reason why.
I still love the heart behind it. It is a ton of work.
Mm-hmm. And I think that the importance is even just to speak to the 99% that do live worship. It's just the human connection. Like we are leading a congregation in worship, but we are all corporately worshiping. So I know that people can watch online and they can have that connection too, because you're watching a human being leading in worship. It's just something about the physical presence of somebody else in that space that's helping to set the stage. And Holy Spirit's already there. He's already moving. We're helping to all together experience what it is like to go into the presence of God through praise and worship, the singing of songs, and then tunes our hearts into hearing God's word.
Have you guys experimented at all with some of these crazy ideas where you sync the music across campuses, that you guys are all playing to the same click? Maybe, one guitar is actually both guitars at different spots. Have you guys experimented at all with these ideas?
Well, with us, the unique thing about it is we actually tried that, and it didn't quite take, just because it was hard to line up our programming. We try to stick to planning center, but things kind of get off the rails. Holy Spirit starts moving. We extend worship. We're engaging. Then we look up and it's like, we were supposed to have gone to pastor 10, 15 minutes ago. So now we're having to communicate to campuses to stretch their worship, and they're all in. So it's not like it's a huge ask, or it feels inauthentic. But the other challenge that we've had is our attendance at campuses matching our service times wasn't quite the same. So we did have to change our service times at campuses. So we're not technically live, which if that was a big revelation for anybody, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, we'll have our services are 8, 10, 12, and 2 at Central Campus. And then at our campuses were some combination of 9, 11, and 1. So some campuses will just do 9 and 11, and then our Southside campuses does the 3, 9, 11, 1. So they'll take the 8 o'clock service from Central, replay it at 9, do the live worship, kick to Resi, and they'll go from there.
Nice.
It really helps to allow for the space and freedom to do more things, to extend worship if it's needed, or if they have any unique things at their campus that campus pastor wants to steward, they can do that without the burden of time.
Yeah. And I'm hearing a lot of churches, like Thursday night services are popping up a lot. I'm hearing that a lot. I've yet to hear another church doing a 2 p.m. service on Sunday. How's that working out for you guys?
It's actually our second most attended service, believe it or not.
In Texas during football season? For real? For real? I draw the line at football time.
Yeah, it's a very unique thing for us, and the 2:00 has been so many different things. It's always been our last service, but it's 2:00 has been the latest that we've had it. We've tried 1:00 when we were doing that model, and then when we got full, we had to add a fourth service. We pushed it to 1:21. Don't ask me why. It's there's a lot of different theories around the reasons why. One of them was Tim Duncan, because he wore the number 21, San Antonio.
Yeah.
Go Spurs, go.
Blake doesn't know who that is.
I only know football. I know NFL football. That's it. Inch wide, mile deep.
Yes. So our last service, we call it the Lobo service, last one, best one. It's always taken on different identity depending on what time we've hosted it. So the 2:00 has been where we've been sat for the last couple of years.
Blake, I think you should adopt that acronym, LOBO, last one, best one.
I like that.
Yeah, you're always last in everything we do.
So then would tech people there be Philo Lobo, first in, last out of last one, best one?
Wow. You're a real stretch there, buddy.
The new Philo Lobo conference coming in 2027, presented by Church Gear.
And Eric, as an NBA fan myself, I'm a big Lakers fan. Do you guys feel like you're cheating now with Wembanyama? I mean,
he's a cheat code for sure.
Blake, this guy is 7'4" listed, but everybody knows he's like 7'5", 7'6", and he moves like it's unreal.
Toby, guys lie about their height when it's higher than it is, not when it's lower. So
I'm telling you, man.
That's either the ultimate power play or he doesn't know what he's doing.
It's so weird to see NBA teams and one guy looks like he's playing with the kids. It's insane.
He's probably still growing.
Yeah. It's like, is he maybe 20 now? 21?
Yeah, I think so. Fairly young, obviously, and prayerfully, he's got a long way to go.
Prayerfully, this is said like a true Texas Christian. That's amazing.
Yeah. All right, Eric, let's talk immersive and object-based mixing. So about a year ago, you guys switched over to a D&B soundscape, and so talk to the Blakes in the room. What is immersive or object-based mixing, rather than Blake would just think, oh, like surround sound in the movie theater?
Unts.
Well, it's really, really close and adjacent to surround sound in that you could do the full experience for soundscape with a full 360 immersion, which is what we have integrated in our campus. But most places who are integrating soundscape, they have a tiered model. It's a 180, which basically their standard. You still have, you can still map objects in 3D space to create immersion, or have limitations as far as how deep into the room you can go to create that further immersion. And then there's what's called 180 plus, which creates some extensions beyond your stage to kind of give more of that feel. And then there's the full 360. So the object-based mixing is it's creating a platform to place objects like you would instruments, vocals, playback devices, anything in 3D space to create a more immersive experience as opposed to your traditional stereo. You just have a flat plane from left to right. You have everything in between that you can play with, and engineers have used tricks and things to create depth in their mixes for stereo. With immersive, you get all of that and just a little bit extra with how you can also use your room, your physical room, to create more of, if you want to create elements that bring the audience closer to what's happening on stage, or you want to envelop them in atmospherics or sweeping pads or sound effects or anything, you can get the creativity is an open book, so you can go very far with it.
What was the conversation, the decision like for you guys? A room that seats 3,500, what did you have in there? What limitations did that have? And then what was the decision to go then immersive?
So we actually had two challenges that Soundscape was helping to solve. One was the physical array hang that we did previously. We used to have an EV array hung in our room, and sight lines to IMAX were cut off. So about 3 weeks into this integration and commissioning, sat down with executives, and based on the feedback we've gotten, we had to totally redesign that array. So we basically cut it in half and put the bottom half of the array next to the top half of the array, and then mirrored it on the other side. Took quite a few smart people to figure out the math and science behind the challenges that come from doing that. And I think we yearned a good result, but it still had its challenges with fighting some things in the room with coverage and sonic quality. So we were running with that for a decade plus before we started making the decision of we need to do something to enhance the quality and experience in our room. And we always wanted to do D&B. And even if we didn't do soundscape, I think D&B would have been the move. And then I did talk about the second thing in passing, and that was just the coverage in our space. So it was sight lines. We needed our PA to be higher in the ceiling just to get out of the way of IMAG, and then to be able to have better coverage in our room.
You said you were going to go with D&B, if not even without immersive. What drew you to D&B so hard?
Mm-hmm. So we went to MXU event.
I've never heard of MXU. What does MXU do?
It's for mixing drinks. It's like a university for mixing drinks.
All jokes aside, if you need a great training platform or a good communications platform,
or just good friends,
go to MXU. So you went to the MXU event. Tell us about it, Eric.
Yeah. So really wasn't anything about D&B specifically, but they did have an array there, and listening to it was like, oh my gosh, the clarity that we got from it, and the quality that we can get. Obviously, we had guys like Lee Fields behind the desk at the time he was with them, and Jeff Sandstrom and all those guys.
Never heard of them.
And obviously, you have the big powerhouse guys that are behind there making it happen, but even still, just the clarity and fullness that you got from it. For me, I felt like that was the way I wanted to go, and I wasn't even in my role yet. I wasn't even a lead yet. But I kept it in my back pocket, went to go talk to the guys in the booth, grabbed a brochure, and just held on to it for the next couple of years. And that was, I want to say, 2 years before integration. And then when the conversation came up about, hey, we're thinking about going a different direction with our PA, and like, do you have any thoughts? I said, well, as a matter of fact, I do.
Yeah.
And then our production director at the time, we were doing our planning and designing, actually kicked the idea of soundscape. And so it wasn't even on my radar at first. And the goal was, hey, we want to take it this next step further for providing better coverage in our room, because even if we throw wash, rinse, repeat with another PA, I think we'll still have roughly the same challenges. So how do we take it to the next level? This was the next step for us.
Dun-dun-dun. It's a new segment called Angry Internet Commenter. Eric, I'm an angry internet commenter, and I'm going, I don't believe the church needs this big expensive piece of equipment. This is useless. Blah, blah, blah.
Is
blah,
that
blah,
how
blah.
they sound?
That is how they sound when I read them. I would love to just hear, a little bit of your why behind that, of like what you would say to that angry internet commenter, because this person, we shouldn't reply to them on the internet. They're crazy. But I do think that people say these things because I see them on our feed. So what would you say to them?
Sure. Now there's some things that you could say that are just not going to convince anybody, but I think the beautiful thing about immersive and even object-based mixing, regardless if you go with Soundscape, you go with Elisa or any other platform, it's helping to marry the audio with the visual. So you can place an object physically in the space, where how it's mapped out in that interface, and where that object physically is on stage, like you hear it from that spot. The processing does the delays and the science behind it to help you localize where you're hearing it from. So it creates this intangible experience of you're now connecting with what's happening on stage. And it pulls people's eyes off IMAG and onto the stage. And you can do some really, really beautiful things with creating moments with pastoral moments from stage. If we want to zero in a congregation into something that's happening, it's no longer this wall of sound that's hitting you. It's more of just you're focusing in on a single point. And I think that in and of itself, it's a marginal change, but I think so many of us are longing for connection. And I think this is using technology to achieve that. And yes, it is an investment. And I think the investment is worth it in some spaces to create those moments.
Yeah, I was thinking, so often we talk about, and we're huge champions of this here at Church Gear. It's kind of the heart behind why what we do what we do. But sometimes we love to tell churches, hey, maybe you don't need that piece of gear. Maybe you don't need that level of equipment. You can come up with a cheaper solution. But sometimes, and I feel like maybe you would echo this, Eric, it's like, we're going to spend this amount of money on PA. Now, we could save 30% and still not get what we ultimately need, or we can make the investment and it's a bit more expensive, but it's actually going to fit the need and fill, for the next decade, what we actually need, rather than just a solution that we save some money on that's going to just keep getting us by. Was that kind of part of the heart behind it as well?
Yeah, everyone's got to be on board with that direction, that decision. It's because not only are you going a little bit extra in your investment, but you're also changing the workflow and culture of how we do production with audio. Your mixing philosophies are a little bit different. Where traditionally there's a certain way to get this microphone, this instrument through my mixer, through all the processing into the PA, pan it one way or the other, and you can do it that way. Or if you're breaking up all of these elements into objects now, it's so much less about stereo and how we've traditionally listened to music for decades, and now you're adding in another sense, another element into your audio experience, and it's really challenged how I approach mixing and change some ways that we do things to on the practical side, on the technical side, how to process this audio and get it into these speakers. It's changed a lot of how we approach that.
Yeah. And I wanted to go back to sightlines because I hadn't thought of this before, and this is actually a problem that it would solve a lot. I think if you go back historically, you got center clusters, and those were just the reality in churches.
You have center clusters. That's called the bar, and Vegas. Clusters of sinners, Toby.
Oh, center, not sinner.
No, you said center clusters, like the staff of Church Gear, some congregations in the north.
You're going off the rails today. You're just so excited about being the world's best kisser, and so now you feel like it's licensed to just say whatever you want on this episode.
It's Thursday. It's pre-weekend. It's pre-weekend.
You're pre-gaming right now.
Mm-hmm. No, Toby doesn't know what the term pre-gaming means. If you do know, just know, Toby, that's not what he thinks it means.
All right, so center. There you go. Clusters, and it kind of didn't matter how high they were. They could be super high, they could be lower. You just point them in the direction of the people. And then eventually you had side screens, and there was never a sightline issue. But then we brought in line arrays, and like you said, line arrays often get in the way of sightlines. And so I've walked into churches and I've seen line arrays 40 feet up in the air, thinking that's insane where a line array is put, but that's their only option because of sightlines. And so just the distribution of speakers in an immersive system really helps open up. And I'm sure you guys experience like, oh, wow, we have all this new real estate visually that we can put things, and there's no sightline issues anymore.
Yeah. And so there's less boxes per array, but then there's more arrays. Yeah. So we have 5 hangs in our room, and with Soundscape, each object you can manipulate how narrow or wide your spread is. So you can put it through what's represented as your center cluster, if you will, and then you can have it as wide as all 5 of your arrays, and just have a wall of sound hitting your audience, and anything in between. And it just helps to either create that immersion or break it if you need to.
Yeah. Is it harder to mix in immersive than in stereo?
There's some different ways that we have to approach how we mix it. And I think there's a trade-off. You get a lot more space to work with. Mm-hmm. So you can be able to pinpoint things. You're not fighting for space where everything's competing for stereo space, where you got stereo guitars and keys and synths, and you're doing drums bus compression into another drums bus with more compression, and you're feeding all that into subgroups, which then are going to a submaster, and then it's hitting your PA. And all of this processing, you're having to find ways to cut and worry about phase relationships and frequency relationships between your vocals and your keys and all. So there's a lot of things that can muddy up a mix. But with soundscape and with object-based mixing, you can find ways to separate them in physical space in the room to where you can localize, hey, that's where the keys is, and hey, that's where your drums are. And you can create those moments where things are much more spread out and it feels less cluttered. I know that a lot of times that is working against how we're used to hearing and how we're used to hearing full mixes. And so it can feel a little empty and feel a little less impactful. I think that the trade-off is the connection that you now are making with stage.
Yeah. I think it can, like, there's so many, my brain broke.
Toby, you started that with, I think, and I don't think you think. You think, therefore you am not saying anything.
Yeah. Thursday. So Thursday for you equals a lot of excitement for what's getting ready for the weekend. I think Thursday for me, my brain is winding down and saying, have to be no smart no mo. So this is me on a Thursday, just dumbing down.
Well, all right. We are the official continuation of an unofficial continuation of Dumb and Dumber. You know, the sequel.
This is true. Dibs on Jim Carrey.
Okay, fine.
Yes. All right, Eric. So let me formulate my question again. There's so many advantages potentially in immersive mixing, but also it opens up new possibilities of wonky or weird things happening that just don't happen in stereo. Can you give us an example of something all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's new, and we have to figure out how to solve that because now we're in object-based mixing?
Yeah, with the deployment that we have in the room that we have, it's very deep with a sloped mezzanine. People in the back of the space obviously don't get the same experience if we're trying to draw them in. Honestly, a lot of these objects feel just far away. And the biggest challenge we had was our pastor and his microphone. And man, it sounds really good in the front half of our room. And then you get to the back, it's like he's down there somewhere. I guess you can hear him. So we were trying to think of how do we put him in more boxes? And we just had to make the decision to kind of break that illusion. Because in that instance, it was better for him to be heard than us to create a moment. And I think he's such a gifted communicator that he can create those moments without the need for technology. But here we are. So with our deployment, and I think much of these integrations are doing this with object-based mixing, is they'll create a faux stereo placement, and it's just linked to one of your stereo buses. You feed it whatever you want that is not going to object-based, and that's what we decided to do with our pastor's mic. The same with all of our playback devices. Some of our MC mics will do the same thing. And it's just an easy way to get it into the PA, an easy way to get a decent spread that covers the majority of the room and hits to the back of the room as well.
Yeah, so interesting thought that object-based mixing opens up the world of possibilities when you have all these sources and you can place them different places. But when you have a single source, you have to start thinking of it a bit differently.
Yeah, it's a single source against 3,000 people in the room too. So that's another thing. And we get a little rowdy, especially at the Lobo service. So we had to find ways to get him above that crowd. And that was one of the ways that we could do it. And we're still experimenting. We're just a year in. I still feel like we're babies in this, and I am by no means an expert now. I still reach out to people, ask questions, and we're still learning some things and trying new things.
Well, age does not always equal maturity. Toby's in his 60s and he's still a baby. So
I know,
you don't always mature with age.
I feel like I'm in my 80s. So
the body of an 80-year-old with the mind of a 13-year-old. Toby Walters, a specimen.
Eric, give just a quick pitch to all the churches out there listening that are thinking, I'm not sure if we're going to go immersive. It's interesting. I'm not sure we can afford it. Is it that much more expensive? Is it that much more of a, level up in the abilities, or is it perhaps a really good solution for a lot of churches?
I would say have the intentional conversations as far up as you want to take it. And I really think everyone should be involved in it. Lead pastor, anyone, even if they don't understand what's going on under the hood, knowing what it is doing sonically in your room, how it can help to tell the story and help create moments. I think you start there, and all of the budget and the technical things, that'll work itself out. But you have to define what experience you want for your house first. And I think that's how we tried to approach it. And it made the decision easier for us. And you may get to it and realize, yeah, we want that experience, but we might be able to achieve it another way, and that's okay. I think it's just having those conversations and being intentional about defining, how do we want our gatherings to be? How do we want our congregation to experience? How do we want to connect with the people who attend our church? And if that's one way, then I say go for it. But if there's other ways that you want to achieve that, then this is not for everybody. It's not the golden egg. It's a tool, just like every other tool that we have. Just like switching from broadcast cameras to cinema cameras. Mm-hmm. It's a direction that you go to use the technology to tell the story. And I think that those are important things to define as you were writing those checks and communicating those directions to not just your staff, but to your congregation, because they're also invested into what's happening.
That's great. I just encourage any church, just don't write it off as I can't afford that, or that's not a good fit for us. At least explore it. I've heard some churches say, it's only 20% more expensive than the traditional stereo array. So don't think it's 2 to 3 times more expensive. I think, it's becoming more and more cost effective. So just, like Eric said, have the conversation, run it up the flagpole.
Well, the thing I like the most of what Eric said is define what you want your in-room experience to be.
Yeah.
Because that will make the decision. It's not like, do we want immersive or not? Like, I want immersive's cool.
Sure.
Well, what kind of room experience do we want? That'll help. Eric, if you guys hadn't had those conversations, if you had just taken that credit card of yours and swiped it like I did yesterday when I spent $4,000 on hats for church gear and didn't tell Toby till this moment.
Blake, just to let you know, I immediately got a text from
Capital One
saying this might be fraudulent.
I also got a text and I said, yes, baby, spend it. It was a disaster. Toby was so bad. No, I'm just kidding. But it could be a disaster if you swiped your card on a D&B rig without doing any kind of running up the flagpole, as you say. So give us a moment where it was an actual disaster, some kind of church production moment where everything went wrong. How did you handle it? How did you address it with leadership afterwards?
Oh gosh. So our building at Central Campus has the very unique challenge of we get a lot of brownouts and power outages. And
what is hang on. He said brownouts. That's not the brown note. It's not like that the immersive is causing everyone to crap themselves.
It's when you eat chili, then you have a brownout the next day.
No, I know what brownout means for me, just like how you don't know what pregame means.
You know what a blackout is? When we're talking about electricity.
It's where everybody wears a black shirt to a sporting event.
So we're talking electricity. You can have a blackout electricity where it goes all out, but brownout, it kind of...
Yeah, what's brownout, Eric?
It's basically a surge where you'll lose power briefly. The results of that could cause some pretty interesting things with circuitry and electronics. You could lose power for things indefinitely. You could fry some of your electronics, everything in between. We have total blackouts before. And we experience brownouts as well. I have a brownout story and a blackout story. If you want to hear, if you want to hear either one, our brownout story was happened to be on a Thursday. We typically don't have a lot of people in our building on Thursdays, and we used to not have a whole lot of things happening. But we used to have our college ministry would meet on Thursdays and have a gathering. Well, this was a few weeks after commissioning our D&B system, and I come in, and I'm coming in maybe an hour or two before we have to set up for rehearsal and do all the things. I'm just doing the routine checks and go to fire on the amps for D&B, and nothing happens. It's like, okay, that's weird. So I go into our amp room. Everything is network based. So we have network switches that talk to everything. Then our network switches for our D&B amps are, there's lights on, but there's nothing happening. And I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere. And so I immediately call our integrator and tell them what's happening. Well, it turns out a brownout had sent our network switches into a fail state. So they're basically in a standby mode. There's no way to wake them up. So our integrator had to get on the horn with manufacturer, figure out how to remote into these things, get them restarted. Well, we're about 45 minutes from rehearsal, and the reality is we're not going to get this up and rolling beforehand. So we have a backup EV point source on sticks, and I just start wheeling those things out on stage, and got a backup PA functioning in time for rehearsal, and did our gathering just like normal, explained everything that was happening, and we were up and running by the time that gathering ended. So we were ready for the weekend, but there's definitely a pucker factor of like, oh man, how are we going to get this working? I'm thinking ahead to Saturday, like how are we going to, if we can't get this going, what are we going to do? So yeah, hats off to our integrators.
Shout them out.
Awesome.
Who was it?
Yeah, so we work with AVLX. So Chris Torrey is the main systems engineer who works with all of our systems and networking. So he really dove in deep. He's pretty much on call for anything network related or systems related. So I hit him up for all kinds of things, and he came in clutch for us. So I mean, hats off to him.
Yeah, AVLX is just right down the road from us, Blake.
It's also what I'm hearing is when Eric had a pucker moment,
I know
they came in clutch to get him out of his brown notes. So I mean,
I was just
still trying to keep these metaphors online.
There's a story there for sure.
Yeah. Anytime you have a brownout, you have a real pucker moment.
Oh my goodness! I think your brain had a brownout earlier, as mine did in the intro segment. So hopefully we can make it through this podcast without a blackout and all the power going off. Eric, tell us your blackout story.
Okay, so same thing. This was a few Easters ago. So Super Bowl weekend for us.
Yeah.
And we normally have extended services. So we'll have Saturdays. Instead of one service, we'll do two. So we had a 3:00 service and a 5:00 service Saturday. 3:00 service happens. We get all the way to the end. Our worship pastor, we have a moment of worship at the end of service. Worship pastor's getting ready to dismiss. Everything goes out. Lights, all of our systems, everything. So we had a total power loss, blackout. And so pastor grabs a megaphone, says, thank y'all so much. Invite somebody to come to our 5:00 service. Otherwise, we'll see y'all next week. Everybody starts filing out, and emergency lights are kicking on. And then we're scrambling, trying to figure out what's the damage, what happened. We're on the phone with our utilities provider, trying to figure out is there power loss in other areas around us. Turns out there was, and so we were working with them. They're getting us updates about when they get power back on. So we have about a 50-minute gap between our 3:00 service, 5:00 service. So this is a little after 4:00 when this happened. And so we were down for about 25 minutes. So power comes back up in the building. And so now everything's need to be rebooted. And as I mentioned before, with our Easters and our Christmases, we're running like 3 or 4 overflow rooms deep. So we have several different systems that we're having to go back through, troubleshoot, power recycle, figure out what's going to come up and talk to us well, what's going to give us fits. So we and comms were a madhouse. If you were a listening ear on the comms, like everybody's communicating where they're at, what they're working on,
how puckered they are.
And yes. So we're still planning to launch at 5:00. We're still planning. Now the added benefit is we didn't have campuses to worry about. This was before campuses, but we're still worried about online and how we're going to get things out to them. Is our internet affected? That kind of thing. We verified our very last critical systems component. I think it had to have been like 3 or 4 minutes left in our countdown before service started. And then 5:00 hit, downbeat. We went, hit the ground running, and I mean, no issues after that.
Dang.
But it's definitely a team effort. We had staff, we had volunteers in on it. We had people who weren't production helping us to sort some stuff out and help us to put eyes and ears in rooms just to make sure they can see things, they can hear things.
Yeah.
So it was really an awesome moment where everybody's coming together, not just production, but this is a church thing. This is church staff and volunteers coming together this experience affects everybody. So.
Blake, I was just thinking, you said internet comment. What was your
Angry internet commenter.
And we got one of those who said, hey, look, you don't even need electricity if you just build the church right. And I'm thinking, man, maybe he's onto something, because it sounds like electricity is the culprit in both these stories.
Don't verify the angry internet commenter, Toby. What I hear in Eric's story is a man that kept Sundays running. He's like, I'm going to keep Sunday running no matter what happens. Or Saturday. Maybe keep Saturday running. So, Eric, you are the first person to give a keep Sundays running. You know, the tech takeaway, we've retired it. We had a funeral out back. We fired the shotgun. We dug the hole.
It was a Viking funeral. We launched the flaming arrow.
Then who did we shoot in the back of the warehouse?
I don't know.
Well, the tech takeaway has since retired, hopefully to a nice island and not buried behind the warehouse. You're now bringing in the Keep Sundays Running segment because you keep Sundays running. So give us your piece of advice for how you keep Sundays running. I mean, maybe just what was going through your mind that kept you in that moment. Like, how did you keep it on track?
Oh man, I think we keep Sundays running by what we do Monday through Friday. And I know that doesn't apply to all churches, but I think with how we build relationships with the people that we do ministry with, that carries so much into when it's game time and when you lock in, when it's stressful. How you've built those relationships over the week can really tell on how well you execute and how well you collaborate with what happens in your production, what happens on your stages, what happens in your green rooms, what happens in your huddles. So yeah, I think what happens on Sundays is greatly affected by what happens outside of Sundays. So what are the prep work you're doing at home? What kind of rest are you getting? Do you know the people on stage by name? Do you talk to them before you hide behind the console or behind the switch, the video switcher or your camera? So I think those things are really important to help build trust with one another and also with your leadership, to know that they have peace of mind when they step out to address their congregation, that people are experiencing things the way that they want people to experience because they have the right people behind the scenes making those things happen excellently.
That's great.
After 200 episodes,
I know,
we bring in Keep Sundays Running, and Eric sticks the landing.
I know, he just set the bar super high. So how's everybody going to follow that in this segment going forward?
Like the pull-ups that we tried to do in elementary school. Eric, that hits, man, because I always say at Church Gear, we do so much April and the first week of May that how we live January to March is going to determine if April and May are awesome or awful. So that hits, man. It's a good way to keep Sundays running. Speaking of keeping Sundays running, Toby,
what?
This episode is coming out in April.
What?
And we're celebrating the text that keeps Sundays running.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah. So
heck yeah.
We're celebrating in two ways. First, we're making some Keep Sundays Running kits. I bet Eric wishes he had one of those kits when everything was going crazy.
Yeah.
We don't know what's going to be in these kits. You might get a branded XLR cable. You might get a Church Gear shirt, might get a Church Gear coffee, might get some production gear that'll help you keep Sundays running.
Yeah. Maybe a copy of my book.
Maybe a copy of Toby's book, if it's not got explicit warning by then. So if you want to enter in for a Keep Sundays running kit, just go to the link in this episode description. And while you're there, Toby, we're doing a second thing to keep Sundays running.
How?
We're going to keep, as Eric said throughout this whole episode, he's got some gear that helps keep Sundays running. We're putting all the gear on sale.
Not all of it.
We are.
I told you not some of it.
We're putting all of it.
Dang it,
I can't
Blake,
tell if this is a bit or if this is real.
It's all a bit.
20% off at churchgear.com. A lot more if you're on the sales bulletin, and there will even be some 35 and 50% off depending upon the category.
Dang.
So come keep Sundays running. Go to the link in our bio. Enter for a Keep Sundays Running kit. Be some goodies in there. Get you some gear while you're here, and then you can keep Sundays running just like Eric. Eric, dude, thank you for joining the Church Gear podcast presented by House Right. Is there anything you'd like to plug? Anywhere you want to point people towards?
If you want to check out what's going on at CBC, you can follow us at CBC Social, and with our production team, specifically CBC.production. And come see the shenanigans and all the ways that we do church just like everybody else around the country, but uniquely CBC.
Come see the shenanigans is literally something I said in an email for Toby's book. It goes, if you want to keep up with my shenanigans, follow me on Instagram.
Yeah.
That's not a plug for Toby's Instagram. Don't follow him. Eric, thanks for joining us, man.
Oh, yeah, it's a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for hanging out with us. We hope to see you back next week for more absurd stories, tech takeaways, and overall buffoonery here at the Church Gear Studios.
All right, Blake. So I was thinking how I'm going to fire you for spending over $4,000 on church gear hats.
It's like $4,500, and that was only half.
gosh.
That's only half of this year's order.
So I feel like we want to let the churches know that these hats are available when we visit in-person churches and church production leaders.
Yeah.
If I go and do a site visit,
Or if Toger goes to a site visit,
or if they sell us gear and our drivers show up to pick it up, like these are the Branded Bills hats.
These are the nice hats. I spent money on these hats.
Even for the big heads, because that's what production people always. Because they all have big heads because they're super smart.
Well, and I can relate because my head doesn't fit in any hat but this one.
I know. And we should see if we can get a backlog of House Right hats too. We'll just give away House Right hats with church gear hats because, we just love to share the love.
So if you have someone you want to love to share the love with and you want to send them a hat, this episode, and a chance to get a Keep Sundays Running kit, send this episode to them via text.